Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced SimRacing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client. And like we did today, we install a D-box system. We install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much gonna be a turnkey. So he's gonna press start on his computer, and right after, we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. And our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really, really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware. And that's why we want to create something that's really gonna reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every question there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an Advanced Sim Racing customer.
The championship and playoff fights are intensifying. It's the final race of the round of 12 and the paperclip beckons. It's time for round 6 of the Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series from Martinsville Speedway, and you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hello everyone, I'm Reese Gardner, and with me in the booth is Chris Phoebe. Behind the scenes is our director Zach Johnson, and we're using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. We've been to a Roval, a few 1.5 milers, and a super speedway in 2021 season 4, but now we go to the polar opposite of all of that. Let's leave it to our track guide to explain the challenge of Martinsville.
Welcome to a piece of racing history. The Martinsville Speedway in South Central Virginia opened before NASCAR was even founded, and it is one of the sport's original tracks. Its paperclip-shaped half-mile has grown from a dusty pioneer to a beautiful racing facility. Going off of the paperclip nickname, Martinsville is two 12-degree banked corners attached to two 800-foot-long straights. Getting out of these corners is all about managing the rear tires sliding around. It often feels like you're coming out of a valley as you head onto the straights. Martinsville is very much a rhythm-based racetrack though, some even referring to it as a rocking chair. You get that sensation because you want to feel the front of the car slam down under braking and then lift back up under acceleration. Making things even more complicated is the fact that the track is only 55 feet wide. Down in the corners, you'll find that yellow curve. It's elevated off the track by several feet, and if you catch it with those left side tires, you're bound to grab a handful of steering wheel. All of the action isn't on the track, however. The pit road that starts in the entry to turn 3 and exits out of turn 2 is only 46 feet wide itself, making pit road under caution look like a circus. Martinsville is not a track that you can rest on your laurels at. Always on top of the wheel is the name of the game. The drivers that do that best find themselves with a grandfather clock trophy. The fans come from all over, the drivers come from all over, even internationally, to race at the hallowed grounds. So settle in, buckle up, it's bound to be a great race.
Well, Chris, it's time once again for Martinsville. This is going to be quite a difficult track for the drivers. Much lower average speed. You've got to properly get on the brakes for these turns. It's going to be fun as we race into the night.
That's right, Reese. They call this the paperclip for obvious reasons, as you see on your screen. This is going to be an elbows out, pretty physical event, I feel like, if history is any past indication. These drivers are going to be really focused on getting to the bottom in the corners, and may see the chrome horn come out a few times as well. That's a weapon of choice here at Martinsville. So we'll see how this one plays out, with a lot on the line here, being a cutoff race for the the year-long championship, and a track that's known for a little bit of aggression.
Yes, indeed. Let's see how much aggression is just on display tonight here at Martinsville. But first, we have to thank our series sponsors. Our broadcast is brought to you by Advanced SimRacing. Owned and operated by passionate SimRacers, Advanced SimRacing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminium profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com.
It's also sponsored by RaceLab. RaceLab helps you to improve your driving skills. With modern overlays, race statistics, and native VR integration, you can get the best out of iRacing. Start using it now for free at RaceLab.app.
Today's broadcast is also proudly sponsored by ButtKicker. ButtKicker product, free nuance, and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. Check them out at thebuttkicker.com.
Today's event is also brought to you by SimMSA. Simulation Motorsports Affinity provides many consulting services, from completely customizing simulators to managing teams, individual drivers, and complete events. They're working hard to bring everyone together at one place to support and promote sim racing internationally. Find out how you can bridge the gap between virtual and real motorsports at SIMMSA.net.
And finally, the PRL NASCAR Truck Series is brought to you by NinjaTrader. Ready to compete against the financial markets? Supporting over 60,000 users across the globe, NinjaTrader provides award-winning trading software and brokerage services. NinjaTrader is always free to use for advanced charting, backtesting, and trade simulation. Visit ninjatrader.com to get started with a risk-free trading simulator and start tracking your performance. Well then, the lie of the land before we go racing for 135 laps here at Martinsville. We'll take a brief look at the drivers' points coming into this round, the last of the round of 12, and Bradley Holly and Abner Acosta taking a win apiece here in the drivers' standings in 2021 S4 so far. In the last two rounds at least, that's the gap at the moment. Matthew Long, well, he was leading the points of 2021 Season 4 coming into last round at Texas, but Abner Acosta taking a dominant victory, Bradley Holly finishing second. That's really tightened things up in the top three.
And things are pretty exciting over on the Teams Championship side as well, Reese, as a graphic comes up here. The Overdrive Racing team just a scant 14 points over Back Row Racing. So the two Whataback teams at the top of the rankings are definitely still in the thick of things. Car Ramrod, a bit of an island there in third spot. And then Car Motorsports back and fourth, and Whataback Next Level back in fifth, each roughly 20 points away from each other. So a little bit peaceful towards the back of the top five, but it is definitely hot and heavy towards the top.
Absolutely it is. This is going to be one of the most intense championships I've certainly seen in all my time commentating on online sim racing. Well, in terms of the playoffs as well, I did mention that Abner Acosta and Bradley Holly have taken a win apiece so far in the round of 12, and that's how things stack up. Holly and Acosta are locked into the round of 8, which starts next week at Phoenix. So hopefully for the other drivers in the round of 12, like Thomas Sink, Danny Cervantes, Daniel Knight, etc., they'll be able to sneak in to take a victory and lock themselves into the round of 8. Otherwise, it's all going to be decided on those points.
That's right. And you got to imagine if you're one of those 4 drivers on the outside looking in right now, you are looking to take the win and steal one of those spots away from somebody that maybe had a bit of better luck in the last 2 rounds.
And finally, we'll go through this, the details of this race tonight. We've gotten a bit used to the 85-lap format with 1.5-mile speedways, but with Martinsville only being half a mile, we're racing for 135 laps, but everything else remains the same. Only 24 incidents is the limit, though, so you have to play nice with your competitors.
That's right. And that no spare truck thing really comes into play here, like you mentioned. Look for this race to be very physical, as I mentioned. And as we head towards qualifying, luckily in this instance, the drivers all get the track to themselves.
Indeed they do, and they all get 2 laps each over the next 5 minutes. And the first of them out, the number 31 of Patrick Cowgill, who we've been following pretty closely throughout this season. 2021 Season 4 hasn't really gone his way, and he's looking for something to really get his final season of the year back on track. Let's see how well he does here in qualifying at Martinsville, demonstrating that 12-degree banking of the turns here. It's a very flat circuit as Martinsville. Very historic as well. It's one of the older tracks on the NASCAR schedule, and it certainly provides a bit of a different experience to what oval racing is stereotypically seen as today.
That's right. This is the only carryover on the NASCAR schedule still from that inaugural season back in 1949 for the Cup Series. So this track definitely rich in history, and as the sport's kind of grown, this track is a nice throwback to what stock car racing was in its embryonic stages.
Well, he completes his laps as Patrick Cowgill, and looks like good enough for 5th so far as the times continue to filter in. And this is the number 312 at the moment of Austin Hunter, and he manages to put his times in. It's just starting a lap there is Austin Hunter. Well, let's see if he can get himself a bit further into the top 10. He didn't exactly have the best race at Texas last week.
And this is going to be a pretty opposite from some of the 1.5-mile races we've seen, where you may see a slew of drivers who elect not to qualify so they can stay in the back and stay clear. This is a much more difficult to pass on track, so look for pretty much the whole field to make a qualifying attempt and make a pretty serious attempt at getting started as high up in the field as they possibly can.
Well, Austin Hunter manages to go to 9th place. That's a pretty good time there. And Abner Acosta is out on track as well in his private label Team Hype truck. And wow, there you go, straight to pole position for Abner Acosta. Just 0.027 ahead of Mr. Daniels. So front row looking very competitive. Let's see if Acosta goes any faster on his second lap. 19.5 the time to beat, and well, he manages to take another few hundredths out of it.
And this is a track that really favors somebody with a road racing background like Abner has. You think of this as a short track and all that comes along with that, but really coming into these corners are a lot like a hairpin that you see on a road course, and being able to manage the braking like Abner's been able to do really seems to fit to his skill set as a road racer.
Last couple of cars making their way around the track now as the session reaches its close. The number 25 of Danny Cervantes, currently just outside the top 20 at the moment. Let's see if he moves up any further as Josh Conker goes to P2, 3 thousandths of a second behind Abner Acosta. That is going to be crucial. Can Danny Cervantes improve here? He takes another 2/10 out of his time. That will surely move him into the top 20. And Josh Conker, well, he's completed, just coming round to complete his second lap. Let's see if he beats the time. No, he does not. He can't improve on that 19.5, so Abner Acosta still holds on to pole. Can Bradley Holly deny him? Currently, he's run a time good enough for fourth, but he gets into the wall out of turn 4. Lap 2 is over. So there we go then. 30 seconds to go in qualifying, and that's the majority of our drivers that have set times. Doyle Lawrence and Hueo Guerra have not set times. It's something that we've seen at pretty much every round so far, Chris, as drivers just deciding to skip qualifying and see if they can work their way up in the race.
Yeah, PRL does also have a caution point system. Drivers that maybe are responsible for cautions in the previous race, sometimes they're not allowed to qualify either. So it may be a consequence of that from a carryover from a previous race.
Right then, we are gridding at Martinsville, and we can go through the order our drivers are going to start in. It's Abner Acosta and Josh Conker who start on the front row here. What a front row it is, only 3 thousandths separating them. Joshua Daniels and Bradley Holly take up row 2, with Adam Shane and Doug Evans completing the top 6. Thomas Sink and Adam Zemke are going to line up 7th and 8th, and then rounding out the top 10, it is Richard D. Thomas and Patrick Cowgill.
Just outside of the top 10 is going to be Clayton Montgomery. Will complete your top 20 starters.
Starting out at 21st is going to be Dalton Gayer with Stacey Hunter alongside. CM Pennington, number 23 on the grid, with Tom Macy starting alongside him. Jim Westerfield and Jose Medina start out of 25th and 26th. Row 14, Nicholas Hunter and Ryan Traver. Rounding out the top 30, Miguel Angel Cardozo and Doyle Lawrence, with the final spot on the grid, number 31, taken up by the 519 of Hueo Guerra. So now, Martinsville being a shorter track, there's likely going to be 2 drivers around you. You end up gaining a massive advantage.
Yeah, a great start here will make a huge world of difference. And what we're going to see in the opening laps is everybody fighting to get to the bottom of the track. There's no qualms about it. At Martinsville, you want to be on the inside right next to the curb.
Well, we are away. Let's check out the weather conditions here at Martinsville. It's coming up to quarter to 7 p.m. in sim time, 77 Fahrenheit air temperature, 79 Fahrenheit track temperature. The winds are northerly at 2 miles per hour, so that's not going to affect the drivers all that much. So either way, it's looking like a very cool track out there, which means the tyres are going to last quite some time, Chris.
Yeah, that's probably a best case scenario as far as tire life goes, but still being hard on the brakes and through these tight corners, it will definitely still use up some rubber.
Just sorting out the timing on my end. We'll see if I can get that done, but the pace car will be coming into the pits momentarily here on the back stretch. Difficult to get into the pits here at Martinsville as well. The braking that you have to do on the way in certainly may send a few drivers a cropper here today, but now it's time for Abner Acosta to take the start. 37 miles per hour, holding speed. Abner Acosta versus Josh Conker off the green flag. It's an even start, but it looks like Conker's actually gotten the better start there as they head into turn 1. He is ahead, but then Abner Acosta with the inside line will get him back on the exit. The outside line seems to be where it's at in terms of grip on the cold tyres at the moment. Still side by side for the lead as the rest of the field filters through. Abner Acosta gets a great exit out of turn 4 and leads across the line to start lap 2.
Yeah, that start going exactly how Acosta wanted. What it's not doing is doing any favors for Doug Evans there in the 41. He's stuck up on the outside, and he is having some struggles getting that truck down to the bottom of the track.
Oh dear. Having a little bit of an incident there at the back of the field. That's caused them to check up, but we stay green. Looks like a bit of an issue in the back of the field. Baron Hilton's been spun around. That's going to bring out the caution. Little bit of a tap from the rear quarter from CM Pennington there. So Baron Hilton all the way to the back of the grid in the 00. That's what caused the initial checkup there. Who is that? That's down on the line. That's the...
Looks like that's Austin Hunter in the 312.
Yeah. And there is the incident that spun Baron Hilton around. A couple of incidents in quick succession there, bringing out the caution, and we'll see how it all worked out here for Austin Hunter. He did very well not to spin it around, but he did carry some damage out of that, hitting the wall with his front left. He's going to be carrying that for the rest of the race, but it didn't look like too huge of a hit to me. Both of these drivers should still be able to continue with minimal issues.
Now, this isn't a track that's super big on aerodynamics, so you can carry around a little bit of damage here and be okay. It's when you get into making those big wall-ups against the wall and you end up knocking the toe out or screwing up your steering that you run into real issues.
Lights still on the pace car, so we'll be out here for at least one more lap. It's still way too early in the race to be thinking about taking a pit stop. The tyres are bare
bottom and just had things somewhat sorted out, and now you get to battle for it all over again here in just a moment.
Indeed you will. And Abner Acosta is going to be starting exactly the same way he did on the initial start. Josh Conker still alongside him. There hasn't been much of a change in positions in the top 10. Bradley Holly up one position. He got Joshua Daniels for third. Thomas Sink managing to gain 2 positions. Richard Thomas up 2. Clayton Montgomery up 2. The biggest mover in the field so far, Doyle Lawrence, who seems as gained quite a few thanks to those incidents further back in the field, just picking his way through. Let's see how far up he can take it before we go to the end. Lights are off on the pace car, so we will be going green this time. And the pace car will pull into the pits, allow Mr. Acosta to take control of the field once more. Let's see if he's a little bit more on the money. If Josh Conker can be surprised here. Abner Acosta goes early, actually, in the middle of turns 3 and 4. That's caught out Josh Conker a bit, and that's allowed Bradley Holly a chance to look up the inside, but he's covered there by the number 54, and they fall into single file through turns 3 and to turns 1 and 2, sorry. Doug Evans getting a great exit versus Clayton Montgomery. He will continue to defend 8th position there. A little bit of side-by-side running further back in the field between Colton Lane and AJ Roderick. They sort themselves out, and Lane holds on to P16. Abner Acosta continues to hold on to the lead as the entire field has fallen into single file now. They've sorted themselves out. Now is the time they'll start thinking about ramping up the pace, trying to attack their rivals, and Bradley Holly is certainly thinking about that. Look at him behind Josh Conker, fighting for second place there in the 184, dragging Joshua Daniels with him.
Yeah, this was a much more organized start than the initial start of the race. These guys seem to be sorting themselves out much easier. We'll see how long they play nice for, but right now things look nice and organized out there on the paperclip.
Oh, well, just as we say that, the caution flag comes out again, and it looks like it's for Rob Haynes, who has a great deal of damage to his front bumper now. And what on earth happened to him here? Unfortunately, I can't see it on replay on my end, but hopefully we'll be able to see what happened to the 199 here. So racing back in the pack. The damage was to the front, and he just spun on his own out of turn 4. Something you got to look out for here at Martinsville. These trucks produce the least power of all the NASCAR top divisions, but you can still spin up the rears on exit. You got to be careful of that.
That's right. There is still a decent amount of torque underneath one of these trucks, and if you get on it a little bit too heavy off the corner, especially a slower speed corner like we have here, it definitely will give you a tendency to snap you around like that.
Well, Haynes jumps into the pits. He's going to get that damage repaired for sure, and that's going to set him back quite a ways. Ryan Traver also in the lane as well. No damage to his truck, so maybe he's just decided to bring it in and get some fresh rubber on it, try and set himself up on an alternate strategy towards the end, perhaps hoping that there will be more cautions coming out. And considering that this is the second caution of the night, we're only on lap 14 now, I think cautions may be the order of the night.
Yeah, it's not a very good omen for the start of this one. One thing we do have to look out for is the PRL Truck Series does have a time limit, so we have 1 hour to get these 135 laps in.
Yeah, if there's too many cautions, it's definitely going to go time certain. The drivers will have even less time with which to fight for their positions. Last time I remember seeing that happening was the Chester Bennington Memorial 100, I believe, a month or two ago. The field will form into the double file now, lights off on the pace car, and we will go green again. But question is, for how long? It's looking like racing in the pack, quite intense.
Yeah, the drivers towards the front seem to have everything together, but you get a little bit further back in the wasp's nest and can go a little sideways, literally.
Well, off that last restart, Josh Conker wasn't quite able to keep up with Abner Acosta. He was facing a great deal of pressure from Bradley Holly and Joshua Daniels. Remember, Adam Shane is up there as well. So you got to think about basically all the drivers behind at this point. Thomas Sink, remember, starting out of 6th. Let's see if Abner Acosta will be able to hold off these advances, and Conker, you can see, maybe doing a little bit of a test start there just to see how much grip is available to him now that the tyres have come back down. Now, does Abner Acosta go in the middle of turns 3 and 4 again, or does he wait? Looks like he's going to wait. And he chooses the end of the curve on the inside to accelerate, and Josh Conker immediately falls in behind to cover off Bradley Holly and Joshua Daniels, as everyone outside the top 4 now starting to look at side-by-side running. Adam Shane alongside Thomas Sink, and Sink with a great bit of momentum out of turn 2, but he can't hold on to it in the turns. Still side-by-side with Adam Shane as they come across the line to start lap 19.
And Thomas Sink in one of the more frustrating positions to be in, stuck there on the outside. He knows he has a fast truck. He just has to get to the bottom of the track to be able to show it off, but there's no opening for him to use to get to the bottom, and so he's stuck out on the outside and just hemorrhaging positions.
Yeah, Richard Thomas getting by him there, and he's going to lose a position to Doug Evans now as well on the inside. See the black and white Ford with the big pink number 4 of Doug Evans. Good bit of rotation on the inside there, showing that the bottom line certainly where you want to be in the corners, but Thomas Sink is going to have to work very hard here. He's got people behind him basically all the time. There we go. There's a gap for Thomas Sink. He's able to fall to the inside and cover off Clayton Montgomery with a little bit of a bump in the corner as well. So let's see if Thomas Sink can elevate himself back up into the top 5. So far, no change up at the top of the field.
And Sink very nearly left the inside open for Montgomery to fill up. And that could have been a huge setback for him, but luckily he was able to wrestle that truck back down to the bottom.
Well, down to the inside in turns 3 and 4, Clayton Montgomery versus Danny Cervantes. And Cervantes going a lot deeper on the brakes to take the outside line and try and hold on to some form of speed, but seems to me Clayton Montgomery has the advantage here, and Cervantes is going to have to filter down to the inside at some point, but not enough of a gap at this stage between he and Adam Zemke. It looks like he's managed to get it done there. I was speaking a couple of seconds in the past. So Danny Cervantes in P10, now looking to try and work his way forward, but it's going to be difficult to get the move done. It seems that it takes upwards of 4, maybe 5 laps to complete a maneuver here.
Yeah, this is not a place where things happen quick as far as making passes go. You really have to be patient, pick your spots, and wait for the right moment. And a lot of time positions come not because of anything you've done, but simply because the person you're racing with makes a mistake, hits the curb and washes up the track, or just leaves the inside open. So this is definitely a race where patience is going to prevail. But then again, when it doesn't, you can always just knock your opposition out of the way.
That's short track racing. The number 54 of Josh Conker, he's losing touch with Abner Acosta in the lead, and Bradley Holly right back to where he was off the last restart, pressuring the back of our former champion Josh Conker. Loving the mind games here at Martinsville, and I guess the mind games in oval racing in general. It's all about waiting. It's all about trying to find that opportunity, pressure your rival into a mistake over a long period of laps. And it seems for the time being, we stay caution-free. The field has calmed down somewhat, so everyone's giving each other a good amount of space. Having said that, there's a bit of side-by-side between Jim Westerfield and AJ Roderick for positions 17 and 18. It looks like Westerfield has managed to just cover him off there with a little bit of contact. That was almost a spin, which would surely have brought out another caution. But they sort themselves out again, and single file seems to be the order of the day so far. It's all going to be about the pit stops here if we stay green.
And you can see some of those trucks showing the telltale signs of racing at Martinsville. Both of those trucks there that we were talking about, and the truck in front of Colton Lane, they all have that back bumper beat in. You'll see that a lot here. Sometimes you have to use that truck in front of you to help out with your braking.
And hopefully don't send them into a spin, otherwise you might stand a chance of getting a penalty. Looking a bit further back in the field, this is the number 60 of Colton Lane. He's on the back of Mark Kalin here. And Mark Kalin with an excellent run in a couple of rounds so far this season. He's stuck back in the field at the moment, down in 16th place. He's got Charles Sumner just up ahead as we check out Westerfield, Roderick, Lane, Kalin, all fighting in a row here on the back stretch.
And you can see here, I mean, these trucks are definitely playing the long game here, Reese. It's a lot of follow the leader until you have the right chance to make a move.
Oh, just saw a little bit of an appointment with the wall for Clayton Montgomery, a little bit of a rub. He lost some speed on the front stretch, which is bringing Danny Cervantes back into contention for that last position in the top 9. We'll see if Clayton Montgomery can minimize those mistakes. It is interesting, Martinsville. You know, I'm not a huge oval guy, but I have driven here in the past, and it requires a completely different approach to just about every other oval on the iRacing service. Not only, you know, the flatness of the circuit, the amount you need to brake, which we have talked about. Oh dear, that doesn't look too good there. Side-by-side running. In the field, that's Stacey Hunter that's gone very high, and this is the battle just outside the top 20. That's a lot of positions lost there for Stacey Hunter.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough break for Stacey Hunter as he continues to drop positions.
Yeah, Hunter was ahead of Nicholas Hunter, but just lap after lap of being forced to the high line has resulted in it not going too well for him. And the number 71 continues to filter through, now down into 29th position, 7 positions down from where Stacey started. So Not the best of runnings here in the first half of the races. I believe that's Rob Haynes on the inside there, back out onto the circuit after getting some damage repaired. Good to see.
Yeah, you can see some heavy damage to the front end of that Toyota. But, you know, he's still out there and still trying to click off laps, so that's a testament to the perseverance of that team.
And Abner Acosta has made himself known here as well, starting to lap people for the first time this race. Acosta is currently leading by 1.9 seconds over Josh Conker, which is a pretty big gap at an oval like this. Let's see if the traffic makes it a little bit more difficult for him. As it stands, he's got a nice bit of space both in front and behind, and his laps, 20.3 on the last lap, 20.9 for Miguel Angel Cardozo just up ahead, so that gives you a bit of a sense of the pace difference between the front and the rear of the field at this stage, and you can visually see the gap decreasing on entry as Cardozo lifts off to let Abner Acosta go. Blue flags, sorry. They don't really exist in oval racing, but still the respectful thing to do to let the leaders go, especially at a place this tight.
Yeah, you know, you were talking about it earlier, Reese, about how this track is a totally different skill set to most other ovals. I mean, this track is a real throwback to the really early days of stock car racing, when you didn't have these tracks designed by engineers and people that were out there with precision equipment measuring these things. A lot of times it was some drunk redneck in his backyard driving around in a circle until he found a design that he liked, and that's what he and his friends raced on. And this is a track that really harkens back to those early days when not every track was exactly like each other, like we saw throughout the 90s and the early 2000s. I mean, this is a track that has personality, it has history, and it is just a different breed of racetrack than what we typically see.
And that's why we love it so much. It's always good to have at least a few tracks on the schedule that holdovers from the very start. You know, in Formula One, you've got Monaco, Silverstone, Spa, etc., Monza as well. Well, Martinsville is pretty similar to that, I'd say, in terms of atmosphere, probably close to Monaco with how tight it is and how close the walls are, how difficult it is to get a move done here. Having said that, side by side into turns 3 and 4, just up ahead. And this is quite the fight being worked out between these drivers. And Stacey Hunter, who was continuing to slip back, is now getting passed by Thomas Sink in 8th and Clayton Montgomery in 9th, and that pace difference, it's not going to inspire confidence in the lapping cars, but it looks like Hunter is doing well to stay well out of the way there of everyone. I'm wondering what the issue is here for Stacey Hunter, because qualifying certainly managed to get an all right time in starting in 22nd, but the race just hasn't gone his way.
No, it certainly has not gone his way. It just seems like he got out of his rhythm and has not been able to recover since that happened.
Yeah, now he's got the leading pack lapping at every single corner. He's having to go wide in every single corner to let Charles Sumner and then Colton Lane through, Jim Westerfield as well. So that might be the order of the night here for Stacey Hunter, especially with how close everyone is. Probably will be banking on a caution, and if one does come out, Stacey's going to stay out on those tyres to try and get some track position back.
Yeah, that's going to be his best bet to try to make up some time, is to simply stay on the track as long as he can and maybe go for some kind of overcut and hope for the best there, because otherwise this night is not going the way that he wants.
Well, we check out Adam Shane and Richard Thomas here. And Shane, he got a little bit of oversteer on the way in, and it seems that that rear end is looking pretty lively there on the number 65. I'd say that's largely what you'd want here at Martinsville. The turns are very tight, very flat, so you need a front end that is very responsive, and oh dear, that is the caution, and it looks like the number 49 there, that's 48, sorry, that's Thomas Sink, and Sink was running in 8th place before this point. What on earth went on for him there? It actually looks to me like he got into the turn a little too hot, the rear end broke free, then he spun around. Here's how it happened. Yeah, the car was already lost at the turn-in point.
Yeah, he just kind of overcooked it into the corner there, Reese, and unfortunately he reaped the consequences of that one.
That's a shame there for Thomas Sink. Something that will certainly set his night out of rhythm. It shows you how difficult it is to keep control of these trucks. I mean, with the turns being as tight as they are, you have to wind the brake bias back a fair bit just to get that rotation you need to get through the turns properly. And pit lane has come alive. Pretty much everyone is in who's not a lap down. Acosta, Conker, Daniels, Holly, Shane, Evans. One of the few cars that has stayed out is Jose Medina. He filters through into the lead now as everyone comes out of the pits, and oh dear, looks like Abner Acosta has been beaten out of the pits there by Josh Conker. A much better pit stop for the number 54.
Yeah, it looks like a great stop by the 54 team.
He was only stopped for 3.5 seconds. He hasn't taken tyres, I think.
Well, that's a bold strategy move.
Yeah, everyone else stopped for somewhere in the vicinity of 15 seconds, which is definitely a tyre change. I'd say probably only right side tyres at this point. Looks like the only car yet to come in for a stop, as Medina has just taken his stop. Dalton Gayer, who has yet to enter the pits at this point, down in 25th position. Be interesting to see where he goes from here on those old tyres. Last car on the lead lap as well.
Yeah, I don't know if staying out on older tires is really going to be a feasible strategy. I guess we'll see here shortly, but Dalton Geyer going to give it a shot in that number 36 truck.
Well, we will monitor the SCP Foundation truck. Wondering if Martinsville is classified Keter or Euclid at this stage. Not too sure. But we will be getting off to a restart very soon. The wave rounds are complete for the lapped cars. Rob Haynes is going to come around to the back of the field, and lights are out on the iRacing pace car. Now it is Josh Conker who controls the field, and Abner Acosta is going to be forced to work that outside line. Let's see when the number 54 decides to put the hammer down and get going. Make sure you control the wheel spin though. Going a little bit high, and at the exit of turn 4 he is away, and Abner Acosta not able to stick with him. Bradley Holly then will move to the inside of Abner Acosta, and remember, they're battling for the championship lead. They're both already locked in for the next round of the playoffs, so they don't have to worry too much about specific results, but they'll still want to get as good of a finish in this race as possible, keep their form up. Oh my goodness, that's a huge pile up at the back of the field. The caution immediately out once again. Many trucks involved in that one, a few still stopped.
Yeah, it looked like a parking lot over there for a second before the caution came out. Just a load of trucks piling in over there.
So what on earth happened? It looks to me like there was oh dear. When we go to the replay, this is going to be heartbreak for Patrick Cowgill. This is, it was actually quite a crush that was going on for Patrick. You see them going 3 wide almost into turn 3, but then Cowgill gets tapped by Thomas Sink and spins around, and also spinning the the truck of Doug Evans. The rest of the field just concertinaing into them.
Yeah, it's so hard to maneuver in that part of the track to get away from an incident like that, but yeah, unfortunately, some trucks that needed to have a good day are not going to have a good day as a result of this.
Well, here's the onboard with Doughton Gaia, and you'll see just up ahead Patrick Cowgill getting spun, and the incident starts happening up ahead. Gaia has to slow down. Wow, yeah, comes to a complete stop, and good heads-up driving there from those drivers at the back of that pack. They got on the brakes and managed to escape with pretty much no damage at all.
Yeah, that could have definitely gone a lot worse than what happened.
Well then, it is still Josh Conker who leads the way. Bradley Holly in second. Abner Acosta actually up ahead there of Joshua Daniels now. He's fallen behind Bradley Holly once the caution came out. These two have been locked in a fight for pretty much the whole season so far, Bradley Holly and Abner Acosta. But now they won't necessarily be fighting for the win. Considering the start that Josh Conker got last time, I would expect that Holly and Acosta will keep each other company very soon. Joshua Daniels will be in there too.
Yeah, I'm honestly really impressed with how that little portion we got to race went for Josh Conker. Seems like he was able to get a really good start and had a pretty solid advantage there for a second.
We'll see if he can hold on to it. Lights are off on the pace car. We'll be going green now at the start of lap 66 of 135. But how many of those 135 are we actually going to complete if the cautions keep coming out? Remember, the races are time certain to an hour. Josh Conker goes in turn 4. They are away once again, and Bradley Holly's managed to hold on to some momentum here versus Abner Acosta, but he does have to give him room in turn 1 as, oh no, we've got a car spun around immediately. The caution is back out. That's Jose Medina who's gone for a spin, and it looks to me like that was no other cars were involved in that. It looks like Medina on the restart just spun up the rear tires.
So that restart a little bit short-lived there, Reese.
We'll check out Jose Medina's view here in the 24. He's up on the high line, gets on the power as things get started, but yeah, there wasn't enough load on the rear tires. Maybe he was a bit too aggressive with the application. Maybe it's because he was offline when he got on the throttle, but either way, that's how it worked out. Barney waving the green flag. Oops-a-daisy. All right, yellow flag, guys. So it hasn't been long since the last round of pit stops, so we can expect the cars to just circulate for the time being. We're going to go on a quick break here on the Global Sim Racing channel, and we'll be back for racing action very, very shortly. You're watching the Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series.
This is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in endorsed series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Aussie Supercars and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone and the Nürburgring. Join iRacing's global online racing community and get on track today at iRacing.com.
You're watching the Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Myself, Reese Gardner, and Chris Phoebe in the box to take you through the story of what has been a bit of a caution fest so far here at Martinsville Speedway, Chris.
That's right, Reese. We mentioned that this race was going to be pretty elbows out, but did not expect to see as many black eyes as we've seen so far today.
Yeah, there's been a lot of trucks now that are carrying some dents and bumps and scrapes, appointments with the wall, with other cars. It's typical for Martinsville, but we will be forming up again very shortly. Lights are out on the pace car. We're on the back stretch, so the restart will be happening momentarily. Josh Conker leading the way after a fantastic pit stop versus Abner Acosta. Crucially, did not take tyres in the stop. So how long will he be able to hold on towards the end? He'll be banking on another caution before the end of the race to get that fresh rubber on, but it's not stymieing his run much at all. Good start from Josh Conker as we go green again. Bradley Holly has to stay wide to give room to his championship rival Abner Acosta in the yellow number 5 down on the bottom. And it's side by side running through the majority of the field. They are going 3 wide for 11th place. Colton Lane up the inside of Thomas Sink, and Thomas gets a great run, manages to escape that difficulty there. Adam Zemke now trying around the outside of Colton Lane in that bright blue truck. The number 57, winner of the first round of this season, is Adam Zemke. Still looking for a result that will back that up. But he's managing to keep it clean for the time being. One of the few trucks in this field with no marks is Adam Zemke.
Yeah, that is a huge credit to his ability here to keep a truck clean at a track like this. And
oh, there we go. Yeah, Danny Cervantes going for a bit of a loop here, and it looks like Matthew Long might have something to say about that. Long tried up the inside of Cervantes into turn 4 and basically just turned him around straight up. We'll take a look on the replay now. And this is how it all worked out. You see the 99 of Matthew Long up behind here and moves to the inside, thinks the door is open, but Cervantes has already moved down to the inside by that point, and there was no chance of that move being made.
yeah, it's just a case of 2 drivers going for the same piece of real estate, and unfortunately it did not work out for Danny Cervantes. He's going to lose a pretty good amount of spots there off of that one.
Yeah, Cervantes has fallen down to P17 now, and remember he was up in the top 10 at the time Matthew Long made that contact. Long remains in 8th place and has gained 10 positions, but so far biggest mover is Doyle Lawrence, who started off the back not setting a time in qualifying. He's up to 16th now after starting in 30th place, and unfortunately it looks to me like his fellow driver who did not set a time in qualifying, Cuellar Guerra, did not take the start. So we do have only 30 trucks here today, but Doyle Lawrence with quite the profitable night so far.
Yeah, it really has been a pretty solid night for him so far.
Patrick Cowgill jumping into the pit lane meanwhile, and Cowgill we saw getting spun around earlier. You see the amount of damage that truck is already carrying. That right rear is not looking good, but Cowgill manages to get his service done and he'll get back out there. As we've mentioned before, it's all right to carry a bit of physical damage on the truck here at Martinsville. Average speeds are low enough that aero performance basically doesn't matter, but he'll surely be wary of how his suspension geometry has been affected.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing about this track is, when you wall up those walls or get hit by somebody else, it can really screw up your steering, can screw up, like you said, the suspension geometry. And this track is hard to drive when the truck is set up optimally. Can you imagine how hard it is to drive when things are just a hair out of whack?
Yeah, you got to run this thing on the ragged edge here at Martinsville to get the rotation in those tight corners. Of course, this is a fixed setup series. All the drivers are running the same settings for things like the shocks and camber and all that entails. But they can change the brake bias at least, and the drivers will be working on that throughout this race, especially Josh Conker, as those tyres wear down further and further. Next restart then. Pace car in. Let's see who gets the jump properly. Abner Acosta trying to hold on around the outside there, but he's caught by surprise and gets into the wall on the restart. Not what Abner Acosta would want. He has to stay wide there for Bradley Holly once again. Same story as always on the start. If you don't get the best launch, then you will have to give your rivals room on the inside, which is going to set you up for a great disadvantage. They almost make contact, our championship protagonists here. But Abner Acosta gets the run and gets it done. Trying around the outside is Clayton Montgomery on the likes of Richard Thomas and Adam Shane, and he's managed to get it done there. But Bradley Holly, on the back of Abner Acosta, is not going to give this up. Acosta running a little bit wide in turns 1 and 2, but he can take the advantage back on the exit.
You got to think a tangle between Acosta and Holly would be exactly what Matthew Long wants to see. He's running a little ways back there in the 8th position right now, and I imagine he'd be pretty excited if those two got into it.
Yeah, remember back to our talk of the championship standings at the start of our broadcast. They are separated by only 5 or 6 points, our top 3, and that is to say Acosta, Holly and Long. Matthew Long still holding on to 2nd place in the standings coming into this race, but if Abner Acosta and Bradley Holly continue like they are, they're going to take the top 2 spots, and that gap is going to extend. Here is Matthew Long, currently down in the field a little bit. He's up 10 positions, still running in 8th place and trying to get a move done here on Adam Shane. Doesn't look like he's under much pressure from behind either, because Charles Sumner is leaving a little bit of a gap to the number 99.
Yeah, and that's one thing here. As we look at our positions gained, Matthew Long, like you mentioned, has just been tearing his way up through the field, and that's one of the trademarks of his season so far, is really being able to pull out these solid finishes on days where it doesn't necessarily start the best. And this is why he's in contention for the championship, because he's been able to hang around all race, and he's there at the end, which is what counts. That's when they pay the points out.
Well, we're under 50 laps to go here at Martinsville. We don't have much time left in this race. Around about 20 minutes in terms of the clock. Once it hits an hour, doesn't matter if you haven't completed all of the laps. At the hour mark, the race ends. So the drivers will be thinking about that. They'll be working on trying to gain as many positions as they can before the time runs out.
Yeah, that's a fair point as well. These races time limited to an hour, which means if we get there, we could end up finishing under caution, and that's not going to be the most beneficial to some of these drivers that are stuck a little bit further back on the lead lap.
This really shows as well how different of a beast Martinsville is to other ovals on the schedule. You go down on the brakes and you actually have to change gears around here. I've been observing Josh Conker, and he's going down to 3rd gear in the turns, shifting up into 4th on the exit. We're right on board with private label Team Hype down into 3rd. Now listen to this. Trying to get the best launch possible out of these corners. You don't often see that on ovals nowadays.
No, that's it's not an easy thing to do either, to really time out the shifts right. And not only that, missing a shift completely could be literally something to ruin your entire day.
Starting to come up on some traffic now as Josh Conker. That's Rob Haynes up ahead of him, who's still carrying a Great deal of damage to his front bumper. But he's managed to keep the gap nicely to Abner Acosta. And in terms of lap times, certainly has a bit of an edge, 20.124. But having said that, Abner Acosta's last lap a tenth faster, and that's where the difference is going to be with those older tyres for Josh Conker.
And Conker has done an amazing job managing the pace here. He is beginning to come up on some lap traffic, so that could potentially change his fortunes, but so far Conker has really ran a smart race since getting to the front. He's not using up his equipment any more than he needs to, and you can see them trading back and forth who's been quicker between himself and Acosta. And of course those two both members of that private label Team Hype, so these guys are both teammates and both with a vested interest in keeping each other towards the front of the field.
Yeah, they're looking at bringing home a 1-2 for their organisation, which would certainly be an excellent result for private label Team Hype. Of course, Waterback is currently dominating the team's standings at the moment, with Bradley Holly, the one of the leading drivers of that outfit. But any points that private label Team Hype can get here and maximise them as much as possible will be a very welcome result. And there is one of the first passes there for Josh Conker, getting up the inside of Stacey Hunter, who is carrying a bit more damage now than when we last looked at him. Hunter down in 25th position, but still trying his best to stay in touch with the drivers ahead. This battle is incredibly close here. This is for fourth. Joshua Daniels getting pressured by Richard Thomas and Clayton Montgomery. The trio strutting their stuff around Martinsville, and it seems they're in a bit of lockstep at the moment. Doesn't seem like there's much of a chance of a move being made, especially with exits like that for Joshua Daniels.
Yeah, really, any opening here will be capitalized, so Daniel's really having to manage his position as he begins to work around some of the lap traffic as well. And that's another thing, is when you catch those lap trucks, it's going to make a huge difference on how your lap plays out. Oh, and we got another caution.
Oh, there we go. And looks to me like that's AJ Roderick, who was running down in 16th position at the time, now classified 18th. And what happened to him here? Looks like it's another case of a driver losing it on their own on slightly more worn tyres. Roderick probably a bit too high on the entry into turns 1 and 2 here. He was off the racing line, getting into the marbles, and that's what sent him around. Once the rear end breaks free in these trucks, I mean, they're big, heavy beasts, and the tyres aren't exactly grippy. So once it's gone, it's gone. And have a look at that. Pit lane, once again, a hive of activity. We see our leaders come in. So pretty much everyone from inside the top 10 now into the pits and getting some service done. New tyres for Abner Acosta. Josh Conker makes his way out of the pits, and oh, it's very close between Bradley Holly and Abner Acosta there on the exit, but Abner manages to just hold on. In terms of stops, man, 14.9 for Abner Acosta, 15.0 for Bradley Holly. That's where the difference was made.
And you got to think, with the way the strategy's worked out, Josh Conker on the track, he still has another set of tires in the bank that everyone else doesn't. And the odds of him having to use it at this point probably is pretty slim, but it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Exactly right. That is certainly going to inspire a bit more confidence in Josh Conker, not that he needs it. It's been a stellar performance from Josh. Off the initial starts, we thought it would be a race between Abner Acosta and Bradley Holly and the like, but Josh Conker now, once he moved to the lead, he has refused to let it go. Currently down in 8th with everyone ahead of him not taking a pit stop on this caution. The likes of Colton Lane, Mark Kalin, Doug Evans, Nicholas and Austin Hunter, Dalton Geyer, Baron Hilton, they are all looking to try and gain some form of position here, and it looks like none of them coming into the pits. So this is going to be quite the interesting situation for our former race leaders. They're going to have to pick their way through these guys for position.
And this is a track where you can really, I mean, it's going to be a disadvantage to have older tires, but if you're effective at parking the bus, so to speak, and making your truck extra wide, you can make an older set of tires work, at least for a little while, and we'll see how that plays out. Race Control coming over the radio right now and giving everybody a warning that we have a lot of different tire strategies going on, so things could get dicey.
How dicey will it be? Is it going to be a 6 or 12-sided die? Colton Lane gets off to a good start there, followed by Mark Kalin as we go green. Already seeing Bradley Holly moving down to the inside of Josh Conker, trying to make the move for the effective race lead, and he gets it done. They're both held up, though, with Austin Hunter and Dalton Geyer both ahead of them. Oh, Geyer goes a bit deep and gets spun almost. There's two cars up in the wall, and oh no, my goodness, huge incident. Joshua Daniels involved in that. The number 54 of Josh Conker as well. That is the race lead gone for Josh Conker with a big incident. And the drivers were just warned about this, those alternating tyre strategies, the older tyres not coming off the best, and a little mistake from one truck ahead sparked off an absolute carnage incident.
Yeah, you can see, well, that was just a little bit of a mess.
Yeah, that it was. Wow. Oh my goodness, it is a proper traffic jam on the inside of turn 4 there. Forced to pick his way through there was, that was Patrick Cowgill, who did a little bit of tight maneuvering. Looks like there were actually two separate incidents going off at once there, which brought the caution out. But man, Josh Conker, he got caught right in the middle of that and spun around. You could say the same for quite a few of the drivers who were battling for those top positions.
Yeah, you got to think Josh Conker very realistically had a chance to win this race and just got caught in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, there's the contact there. One of the cars getting up into the wall just ahead of him. He had absolutely nowhere to go. Man, the number 9 going into that incident at quite a rate of knots as well. Well, this changes things around a bit, doesn't it? Colton Lane, Mark Kalin, Doug Evans, Nicholas Hunter and Dalton Geyer are your top 5, but Bradley Holly and Abner Acosta right behind them in 6th and 7th. And now, with Josh Conker out of the picture, it's going to be between Holly and Acosta once again.
Yeah, this caution realistically will probably be the most significant moment of this race when you think back on it, Reese. Josh Conker, by all intents and purposes, was set to eventually probably inherit the lead again if things shook out the way that I was expecting him. And his race has been pretty effectively dismantled. He's retired from the session. He's done for the night, and I imagine he's probably spitting mad right now.
Yeah, I'll bet he is. That's a big shame for Josh Conker, but he will come back stronger. So it's looking to me like there's a bit under 10 minutes left in the time for this race, so this is going to be very significant for the number 60 of Colton Lane. If he can hold off the advances of those behind him, he might be able to take a surprise win here. Gets onto the green flag start, and it's a great launch from Colton Lane. Leads the way with no pressure from behind into the first corner, but on the inside goes Doug Evans on Nicholas Hunter. Bradley Holly right there as well on the fresher tyres, and you see that launch that Holly gets. That's how much the fresher tyres are worth, and Hunter having to still stay wide to let Clayton Montgomery through. Abner Acosta has not had the best of starts, actually. He's stuck behind Clayton Montgomery here, makes contact meanwhile with the car he's attempting to pass, Nicholas Hunter, and cannot get it done. So, well, actually, no, he does get it done. It was Matthew Long that was having trouble getting past Mr. Nicholas Hunter. But let's see how far Bradley Holly can move up here. He is on an absolute mission now, in third place, pressuring the back of Mark Kalin, trying to get back to the race lead, and Abner Acosta at a disadvantage here.
Yeah, you got to think at this point, Bradley Holly's like a shark that smells blood in the water. He's got some of his top competition is out of the race. The rest of it is mired back in traffic, and he's got two trucks in front of him on significantly older tires. All signs right now are pointing to that 184 truck being in. Oh, and there goes your leader, Colton Lane.
Oh dear.
And we're still piling in. Oh no.
Oh dear me. Well, the trucks wouldn't have had many places to go there, but everyone slows down, and that was it was a botched pass for the lead from Mark Kalin there that brought out that caution. He was up the inside, but just either Kalin washed up slightly or Colton Lane just turned in and was unable to stay wide. Here's the replay of the move. So on the brakes, gets Mark Kalin, but yeah, in the mid-corner they make contact and around he goes, and Lane, well, he tried to get out of the way of everyone, but there just wasn't enough time.
Yeah, he probably was sitting at just about the worst part of the track for that. It was effectively blind for those guys coming in.
Oh, right in the side there, and that's the 109 that is of Nicholas Hunter that completely T-boned the number 60. Here's the view on board from Adam Zemke in the Snuggles machine. The incident will happen up ahead. It was quite the interesting pass, and this is the view. He managed to just, oh no, he didn't quite make it through without contact, but you could see just how narrow the line was down there on the bottom. If you were already side by side, then there wasn't much you could do.
Yeah, you remember a little bit ago when we were talking about how the 57 was one of the only trucks left out there that wasn't all banged up? Yeah, you can throw that right out the window.
Yep, different story now. Well, Adam Zemke still holds on to a position in the top 10. And Mark Kalin will filter through into the lead, though. He might be feeling a bit sheepish about that move on Colton Lane. We'll see what happens after the race. Got one car in the pits, Miguel Angel Cardozo, coming in for a stop, and looks to me like... yeah, he's managed to make his way back out, still holds on to the last position on the lead lap in 22nd place. But we're rapidly running out of time here. I'm not too sure exactly how much time is left, but I think it's around 5 minutes. So if there's another caution, it's likely we're going to finish under it.
Yeah, this could pay out very well for Mark Kalin if we get a couple more cautions in quick succession.
Yeah, looks like it's just gone time certain on my end, on my timing screen, coming up on 4.5 minutes to go in this race, round 6 of 2021 Season 4 of the Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series from Martinsville Speedway, and it's been quite a chaotic race so far. We've had leaders taken out of contention, we've had pile-ups in the middle of the field, we've had drivers spinning on their own. It's been a very difficult night for many drivers out there, but Mark Kalin stands half a chance here at taking a surprise race win after staying out on those older tyres, and he gets a slightly better jump there than Bradley Holly and Abner Acosta in second and third, but remember those two are on fresher tyres. You can say the same for Clayton Montgomery, Matthew Long, Doug Evans behind them, and they're going to try and pincer move him here, going 3 wide into turn 3. Goodness me. 3 wide through the turn. Bradley Holly has to back out of it. No, he goes for a spin and he's around. Oh, and he's taken Clayton Montgomery with him. That is a huge smash. Bradley Holly tumbling over, and half the field has been involved in that pile-up. He's been sent into the pits.
Wow, that was a ride for Bradley Holly.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph. Oh. I mean, I don't quite have the words right now. Like, we've had like proper contenders for the race win taken out twice now in these separate incidents, and it looked to me like I'll have to go back and check. It all happened so quickly, but I think Bradley Holly was having a couple of traction issues there on the outside. We'll go to the replay and check it out. There is the 3 wide move to try and take the lead, and Holly stuck up on the high line once he got onto that darker tarmac. The rear end broke free, and man, there we go. All by himself, and that's going to be absolute heartbreak for Bradley Holly, getting sent up and over all the other cars and into the pit lane as well.
Yeah, this race just keeps finding new ways to make me scratch my head.
And it might make you scratch your head for the final time here, Chris, because we've only got 2 minutes to go on the timer. Here's the view from one of the trucks making their way in. Bam. I mean, you can tell that it's very difficult to sight your way through an incident like that. You know, people often talk about, just hold your brakes and pay attention to what's happening around you, but again, on a track like this, as tight as it is, it's so hard to go side by side here, and these cars are big. You don't stand much of a chance of seeing what's happening in front of you until it's too late, unless you're on one of the straights.
Yeah, this is a track where things happen fast, and there's a lot of blind corners here too, so you don't get very much time to react when things do happen.
Well, as it stands, Abner Acosta has filtered through into the lead of the race. Mark Kalin still holds on to second, and Matthew Long up into third. And that's going to be crucial for Matthew Long's battle with Bradley Holly in the points standings. They were only separated by, 2 points. So certainly Matthew Long would have been fearing that he would have lost touch with Mr. Holly, but now it looks like that gap is reasonably safe. Abner Acosta should extend his lead at the front of the standings here, as we have only 25 seconds to go, and they'll be crossing the line. I get the feeling that this is going to be the final lap, and we will finish under caution. So now, it's only a sedate drive to the start-finish line for Abner Acosta in a race that has been marked by many cautions tonight here at Martinsville. Something that we certainly did not see at other tracks, and it's going to be the final restart here. Abner Acosta puts the power down and gets it done. Checkered flag, he wins at Martinsville. Great victory for Abner Acosta, and we've still got cars spinning on the way to the line. Well, an interesting night, Chris. That was, I'm not too sure what to make of that. I guess Martinsville gonna Martinsville.
Yeah, this race was definitely something. I mean, it gave you a little bit of everything. It was a very, very strange race, but works out very well for Abner Acosta.
Indeed. He should extend his championship lead, and with a third-place finish, Matthew Long will protect his second place in the standings from Bradley Holly, who had an unfortunate night here. Slowing down and starting the victory celebrations once more is Abner Acosta, and while he's doing that, and putting a few more dents on his truck in the process, we'll go on a quick break here on the Global Sim Racing channel. We'll be back with our official results and interviews with our top three.
Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced Sim Racing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client. And like we did today, we install a D-Box system. We install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much gonna be a turnkey. So he's gonna press start on his computer, and right after, we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. And our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really, really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware, and that's why we want to create something that's really gonna reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an Advanced Sim Racing customer.
Well, the Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series at Martinsville saw yet another chaotic race here, and it all worked out in favour of Abner Acosta up at the front of the field. He took pole and was losing the lead in the mid-race for a while, but managed to work his way back up thanks to incidents for other drivers around him. Mark Kalin, he took the strategy gamble, stayed out on old tyres, and ends up finishing second. A very profitable result for Mr. Kalin. Matthew Long completes the podium, and that will be crucial in his points battle with Bradley Holly. Adam Shane finishes fourth. AJ Roderick completes the top five. Then it's Richard Thomas, Adam Zemke, Nicholas Hunter, Tom Amassi, and Stacey Hunter who round out the top 10. And considering what we saw from Stacey Hunter at the start of the race, that's a fantastic finish.
Yeah, that top 10's a small miracle. The rest of our lead lap finishers, Miguel Angel Cordozo in 11th, CM Pennington 12th, and Jose Medina, final driver on the lead lap. Clayton Montgomery, our only driver, 1 lap down. Then Doug Evans, Danny Cervantes, Thomas Sink, Dalton Geyer, Charles Sumner, Bradley Holly completing the top 20. All drivers that had big issues there at the end.
Yes, Patrick Cowgill as well, suffering some issues on his way to 22nd position. Doyle Lawrence, meanwhile, makes up 9 positions, starting at the back of the grid. Ryan Traver and Colton Lane, 23rd and 24th. Austin Hunter not able to make it all the way to the full lap distance, and then we get into proper retirement territory. Both Joshua's, Daniels and Conker involved in the incident that brought out the second to last caution, I believe, and a big shame for both of them. They would have been in contention for top 3, possibly even the win. Baron Hilton, one of the first drivers to be out today, spinning and bringing out the first caution. Rob Haynes as well, and then Jim Westerfield, 67 laps down, well and truly retired. Of course, Hueo Guerra classified 31st on the results screen, but he did not start the race. It's going to be a pointsless night for him. Well, now we go into our interviews with our top 3, and the first of which will be our race winner, Abner Acosta. Welcome, Abner. It's another victory for you here at Martinsville, but certainly it came in quite chaotic circumstances.
Hello, guys. Good evening. Yeah, that was pretty crazy at the end. Definitely would have been a lot easier if we didn't have all the yellows, but yeah, all the yellows made it to the point where there were trucks with the worn tires in the front, and with, you know, the pace difference was also huge. So like we were just trying to get through, me, Brad, and Josh, and I was lucky to get there, to get through there on that 3 wide at the end and get that win.
Yeah, very lucky indeed. It does seem the pace difference in these tyres quite substantial here at Martinsville. Do you think that's down to more the characteristics of the track or the temperatures that we were running tonight?
I think it's just the track and you know, driving styles, and if you're shifting or not shifting. I know I was shifting. Some people weren't, and I'm sure that affects the tires in some way as well. Yeah, all of that definitely came into play for sure.
You're known for your road racing exploits before making the jump over to ovals, and we were talking about how your road course experience may help you at Martinsville, and I guess your perspective on that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, anywhere where we can use the brake, trail brake a little bit, how we do it on the roadside, and you know, just play around with it. I think we're more comfortable, I guess we will say, with being on the brake and turning. So yeah, that definitely helps. And yeah, I've also gotten a lot better saving tire. You know, it doesn't apply to this track that much, but for other tracks. So all of that combined, and I guess I'm not that bad at oval either. So all of that combined has made me pretty strong.
And the win is certainly proof of that. You extend your points lead in 2021 season 4, and with an unfortunate result for your rival Bradley Holly, it means that the fight will be mixed up a little bit. But Matthew Long is still there, so the fight is still on.
Yeah, for the season 4 championship, yeah, that's still fairly close. But I know for the playoff side of it, I know everybody's still in it until the end, and that's I've never done a playoff like this, so I know the last 4 that go to Atlanta, you know, anything can happen there, like any sort of mistake. So the last 4 that make it there, you know, it's anybody's race, so it can't get too comfortable. Gotta put in the practice.
Absolutely. Well, we should probably let you start preparations for the next round. Before we let you go, Abner Acosta, anyone you'd like to thank for your victory today?
Yeah, I want to thank everybody at Private Label Team Hype, our sponsors, Tomahawk Neonism, Ethica, and I want to thank everybody on the pit wall today, Ty, Tommy, Also, Josh was doing a really great race. I think he was definitely going to get that win tonight, but just coming through the field, he wasn't so lucky. So hated for him because that kicked him out of the playoffs, and I know he really wanted to make it through. So thanks to him, though, we were helping each other out in restarts and, just driving around the track. And I want to also thank GSRC and PRL. Thank you.
Yeah, commiserations go to Josh Conker as well. That's Abner Acosta there in the number 5, taking the number 1 position here at Martinsville tonight. Next up, second on the road with a great strategy call, Mark Kalin stood by with Chris Phoebe.
Well, Mark, the gamble on the tires seemed to pay off for you. Tell us what went into the decision-making process there.
I kind of was stuck in the top 20 there in around 13th place and wasn't going anywhere. And about me and 3 of the other guys made a decision to just stay out and hope for the best. And it turned out to be a nearly race-winning call.
Now, when you had Bradley and Abner take you 3 wide there, what was going through your head as that whole thing played out?
Basically, should have gone a little lower to block Abner a little more, but no, it was fun. I knew I didn't really have much for him on the restart because they obviously had much fresher tires than me. I just wanted to be as smooth as possible and try and make it to the finish.
Now, I do have to ask, there was that little bit of contact between you and Colton Lane that triggered a pretty decent dust up there. What happened with you and Colton there? Just a wrong place, wrong time moment?
So, yeah, I feel gut wrench for Colton. I obviously did not want to turn him. That's not the way I race. And, with him being my teammate and all, I feel awful about it. I think maybe I just got in a hair too hot, drifted up a little bit, and contact was made. Honestly, I was just trying to do everything I could without being overly aggressive to try and get that top spot away from him. Unfortunately, contact was made and he got some pretty major damage.
Well, Mark, still able to end the day with a pretty good finish. Who would you like to thank to help make this run possible for you?
Firstly, I want to thank the Whataback crew. They've helped me come a long way from where I started with iRacing about 2 years ago. And, I want to thank you guys up in the broadcast booth for putting on a great show every week, the managers at PRL for putting on an awesome league, and my friends and family back home and across the states watching on the broadcast for their support.
All right, that was Mark Kalin, our runner-up finisher tonight. Back to you, Reese.
Indeed, and the last driver we're going to talk to is the number 99 of Matthew Long. Matthew, it was not the best of qualifyings for you starting back in the field, but you're known for working your way up and being there at the end. It looks like that was the case again today.
Yeah, I completely botched my qualifying lap. It was not pretty at all. But, honestly, I was pretty slow today. I don't know. I didn't practice much, and I didn't realize till like lap 20 that downshifting was probably a little bit faster. So I was kind of learning on the fly, and just, my goal was really just to get a top 10 tonight, given how, my pace and, keep the truck clean, and kind of that's what we did. And that podium fell in my lap. Was able to dodge a few wrecks there, and there's a couple big ones towards the end that we got through fairly clean. Got really close on one of them, but kind of just lucked into a top 3 finish, which is what exactly what we needed for the points.
Yeah, exactly. You were very close on points with Bradley Holly before his unfortunate incident at the end. So you're safe in second for now.
Yeah, it's just gonna keep take clean runs like this, top 3s, and unfortunately the only other guy that I needed to beat, the guy that's in front of me in points, was Abner, and he won, so congrats to him. He's just so quick and smooth at these tracks. But I'm just gonna keep showing up and trying to keep it clean and keep getting top 3s and see if we can be there at the end.
Well, Phoenix is next week, and probably one of the last races to be held on the current configuration of the track on iRacing before it gets updated. What are your thoughts on that place, and how do you usually go there? How do you think you're going to go?
Yeah, it's another track I like. I kind of like these tracks where, you know, you got to brake and kind of be smooth with the throttle and everything. So, you know, hopefully we'll have another good run. Hopefully I have a little more pace there than I did here at Martinsville. I thought I was going to be pretty fast here, and I wasn't. So, now looking forward to it.
As are we. Before we let you go, Matt, who would you like to thank for your podium?
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys for putting on the show each week, PRL for hosting the league, and Pebble Isle Marina for being on the truck, and all the fans and friends out there watching.
Matthew Long there with a great third place finish after starting in 18th. A great drive through the field, and Chris certainly shows the value of being able to avoid wrecks here at Martinsville.
Yeah, this really came down to keeping your nose clean, and it looks like it worked out great for Abner. Some smart strategy plays were paid off in good points for Mark Kalin, and now we head out to Phoenix for a bit of a similar type of racing, only on a little bit of a bigger course.
Yes, we're running the oval with the open dogleg next week, and that's certainly going to be a fun ride for sure. And we hope that you'll be able to join us next week on the Global Sim Racing channel for that. But for now, we'll give our thanks to our series sponsors once again, ASR. They design and build the sturdiest and most durable aluminium profile racing simulation cockpits available on the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com. Also, RaceLab. It helps you to improve your driving skills. Start using it now for free at RaceLab.app. ButtKicker as well. Feel what you've been missing at TheButtKicker.com. SimMSA, Simulation Motorsports Affinity. Find out how you can bridge the gap between virtual and real motorsports at SimMSA.net. And finally, NinjaTrader. Visit ninjatrader.com and get started with a risk-free trading simulator to start tracking your performance. Thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcasts listed here on your screen. Additional thanks to June Lalonde at the bottom, who provides our wonderful music. Check out her Bandcamp page listed there for more of her great work. Thanks to the team today, Chris, Zach, and Dougie. I am Reese Gardner. You can find more info about GSRC at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media listed on the bottom of your screen. Also, please check out our merchandise store at simracingmerch.com/GSRC. We keep a link in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel here as well, so you don't miss a moment on GSRC. The next race is this time next week at Phoenix International Raceway. We hope that you can join us for that and see how the championship fight will continue as we start the round of 8 in the playoffs in PRL. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. Until next time, we say race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.